Well, hello everybody. This is Santa Jerry from Santa's Switch Adapted Toys. We got a special one here today. We're going to do the DJ Bouncin Beats. And this is going to be a little challenging for some of you unless you buy a special tool. In fact, you can't get into the body unless you buy a special tool. I'll point that out in a moment. So, Bouncin Beats is a very active toy. It's got 3 inputs. Music, ABC 1, 2, 3, and then it's got the ability to record like some of the other recent beat bows and beat bells. We need for this 3 cables so that we can allow the user to use input to any one of those depending on what the caregiver sets it up as. So these cables, I make them up in advance. These colors on the end of the cables, I use stereo and turn them into mono cables. In another video I'll show you how I do that. I have a box here for testing purposes, and I believe we can see this lighting up. Yep, we have two lights coming on indicating that this is properly wired and ready to use for a cable. You'll notice on here, let's see if I can get the accuracy of it, that these cables are, oh wait, see, this is one I was using for another purpose, but well, that's okay. It already shows what's going on here. We have 3 wires of different colors and 3 wires of different colors. You have to figure out, in order to make a stereo cable into a mono cable for toys, which of those 2 wires you need to combine. In this case it was the red and black, and the blue wire is separate. In this case over here, it's a different configuration. I can show you real quickly. I didn't want to dwell on this, but since I happen to be holding that, let's go back to looking at the light. Which 2 do not light up together? White and red light up. White and black do not light up, and on this one, red and black does light up. So if we put white and black together and solder those up as one side of our switch and touch, see, it's not together because it's too short. They're not touching each other. But if this were set right, when these were all combined, then it would light up properly, and this would be a proper cable. So we'll set those to the side. Again, there's another video that explains that. I'll link below. And so I've got, let's grab another cable. Now I've got 3 cables for this toy. To get into this toy requires a special tool. Tools required for this are, if you need to make a cable up, then you're going to have to have wire strippers, things like that. You need a soldering iron. But Fisher-Price changed it up. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws that have to be removed from the back of this toy, plus 9 and 10. 9 and 10, the bottom 2 are triangle screws. So if you don't have a triangle screw, you're not getting into this toy. I will link to, I purchased, I'll see if I have the link. Let's go back. I don't want to commit to something and then not be able to follow up on it. But I purchased this bag of triangle screws, screwdrivers, triangle screwdrivers. The one we're using today is the TA 2.3 is the fit. And so that gets into here. Now I've already opened this up. And before we open it up. No, that's good. We'll open it up. Let's open it up and get into it. I was going to play it, but it bounces all over the place. That makes it a little challenging. Here's the parts holder for the screws. I've got most of them out. Oops, that's right. That was, one was a triangle screw. I've taken it out, and the other is a standard screw. Okay, so now that the body is available to open, we can grab this front and the back of these shells, and when I take these apart, the base is going to fall off. The base is not wired to it, it's just captured in the bottom. So let's see if we get the base off. I have some wires that hold the front and back of the body together. The base is now removable because you can see here it's a round fit. This realignment, putting it back together, is going to be this notch goes to the front, and there's a block here that makes sure that that notch goes in the right place. We're going to set this aside, and we're going to study this for how those switches activate. I don't see an easy way of detaching this body from the other. There is a plug here, could be pulled apart, but it's got other constraints, so we're just going to set it down and hope to work. Actually, we'll be able to work on this fairly easy once we identify what's going on. So this is what makes the bouncing activity occur. And I'm going to try to support this.
Ready to dance? Merry Christmas!
Okay. And now I'm going to turn it off. Throughout our activities, we need to make sure we're clear of that. So obviously turn it off while you're working with it so it doesn't activate. But also the cabling runs. Have to consider avoiding this as a moving object inside the body for your cables and wires. So, where are the switches? These three switches. Nice integration on this, by the way. We're going to pick all three of these up a little bit and pull them out, and they slide right out of that holder. And they are keyed to go back in. This is obviously the front towards the face, special key to go back in, and they can come apart, but they're also latched. They're keyed this way, so that helps to keep the movement of them nice and simple. So we're looking for the switches that we're going to adapt. Again, we're going to set this aside as a unit, and these are the switches. This is where the switches are that activate this toy. And bringing that up to the camera, it says, let's see, okay, here's what I was talking about, a little bit easier. We collapse this body back together for a moment. So bringing it up to the camera, there's the switches. And again, they're printed circuit board switches, so these little silicone pads activate them. Okay. And there we go. Activate the switches when the power is on. And you can see the way the circuit's set up, and then there's 4 solder points. That's where we're going to attach our cables, those solder points. Pretty easy to do in the sense because I made them right there. What was puzzling to me when I first opened it up is I'm used to tracing out the circuits. And I saw those lines and I traced them out and I thought, it doesn't make any sense. They're all mixed up. And then it dawned on me that the little dark lines aren't the wiring. They're the circuit board, the bare circuit board. The wiring itself is all that other blue material. So they've eliminated, etched away the blue material to leave circuit board, and you can see that those solder points are directly placed on nice pads on the blue sides, on the blue portions. So tracking it out is one, to that could be done just by following the circuit board. I'll demonstrate that in a moment. But also on this particular toy, that entire block of switches can be fairly easily slid forward. I'm going to roll it over and turn it around. And they were kind enough on this toy to identify, I'm hoping we can see it up here. It does say right, yeah, there we go. Right above the wires, the purple one says B1, the gray is B2, white is B3, and black is G. And we already know ground. So we need to attach one side of each of our switches, our remote switches, to ground, and the other side independently to button 1, button 2, button 3. Pretty simple. Thank you very much, Fisher-Price, for making that accommodations for us. So I'm going to set this back down and turn that circuit board back over and put it in place. Almost everything we're doing now from here on out can be done with that in place. So let's open it back up. We know where the switches are. We have to get some cables inside of here so that we can operate our remote buttons. And I traditionally like, if there's an opportunity to do it, to put my entrance points on the back of the toy down low. So that would be here or here, but that means that while I'm working on it, I have a cable that's stretched across this big opening. It might accidentally get in the way of this when I close the clamshell back up. I got to route it. I got to do a bunch of other stuff. So where would be another easier place to get access to this circuit board from outside? One thought was over here, and allow the cables to run behind that arm, and that wouldn't be too bad. But this ear is closer to the arm, and if I had the cables running here, that would, I think that would be better. So this is where I'm going to put my 3 cables. I'm going to drill holes there to put them through. I'm going to drill them through the front, simply because I want to be able to properly manage the wiring inside this toy so that it doesn't interfere with anything. And I have got to miss, is there any, I can pull this off. Okay, I have got to miss, oh, there's not much in there. Okay, so this goes here, right? Oops, let's put it the other way. Make sure we put it back together right. Okay, so this will go there. And if I come up carefully through here with my wires, then I can run them through up this side well away from here, keep them short. Then I'm going to bring them up through the center here and then over to those contact points. Now, I haven't done one of these toys before, so you and I are doing this for the first time. I studied it, and this is the conclusion I came to, and I'm hoping that the person that gets this likes what we've done. So let's see. I'm using a long bit. I got to be very careful with this because I don't want to go through my hand or hit any circuits or any inside components. And this plastic's pretty hard. So I'm putting a little pressure on it, but I don't want to jam it all the way through. So I'm going to miss that side. I'm going to come up to the other side and go through those 2 pins, those 2 points. Again, keep my hand out of the way. Okay, and is there a possibility, let's see, where would it be best? We've got one, and this might be something, you might want to consider this too. You don't have to activate all 3 of those switches. You can activate 1 or 2, but I figure that the more independence, or the more choices that you have, the more fun it's going to be for the client and the caregiver. So we're going to bring those up to into there. those look good. I can probably, if I'm careful, I can put another one in between these two posts. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go right between those two. And when I get through it, get this started, it's going to be at an angle up. Okay. I got 3 wire holes now. 3 cable holes. All right. So let's set them in. Hopefully you're still following me there and from a distance. This is the over-the-shoulder cam right now. It just, because of this way the shop is set up, it's just the easiest place to put that. And I know that you're probably tilting your head to get the best angle, but from my standpoint, it's just really convenient to do. So, okay. So I appreciate you looking over my shoulder while we do this. I'm going to pull these in a ways so that I can manage them once we're inside the case. So I'm saying that I want to bring them up through this side so that they're not hitting anything there, and it's a nice managed hole, and put them onto there. I don't need a lot of heavy wire up here, so I'm probably going to remove the sheathing back, but I need to make sure that they are long enough once I tie my knot in it. So let's tinker and configure this under the, yeah. I was gonna remove the circuit board and do this, but let's just try it here. But I'm gonna put a knot in it and see what happens. I'm right-handed, so the loose end of the cable goes over to that side. Let's see how long we end up with here. Oh, that's way too long. Good, good. We can put a little bit more of a tail end on the outside. And loosen that knot up. Those of you who do this, and some people do this with zip ties. I don't care for zip ties. This is a much more assured thing. The zip tie could slip. You could end up with it coming, loosening up and coming out. And this acts as a strain relief so that there's no pull on the solder points. And if it starts to loosen up or come out and gets pull on the solder points, then you're going to have failure. And nobody wants failure in their toys. Failure is not good. Okay, let's see. I think that I made that a little too short too. I was a little bit too quick to pull that tight. There's plenty there. I'm going to make it a little bit longer tail sticking out the side. We'll look to see where this ends up when it's all said and done. Okay, and then the third one. You can see here these cables were probably about 8 or 10 inches long or 9 inches long, and because of this placement and the knots and all of that, it's taking a little bit of a toll for the length outside the toy. So you always want to make sure that you make your cables long enough. I'm going to want to, okay, so I said that I was going to strip back some of that sheathing because I don't need all of that sticking up in here. Ooh, wait a minute. Let's revisit this. I don't know. Can I put that cable sticking up out there? Let's revisit this. So I just noticed a couple of things going on. Sure glad we checked this. I could put that cable sticking up out there, but it would be inconveniently in the way of this button. And this button comes in here and needs some movement. So the other thing that I noticed, and I'm not sure I can get this up to the camera to show it, let's find out, is the circuit that I'm trying to attach to. Let's see. That's on the shadow side. Let me rotate it and see if we can get light. The points that I'm trying to attach to, if you look at those wires as they come into the bottom of the circuit board there, and then they work and attach on the other side of it, it's a little tight. I have more room to keep the cable on the back side of this than I do to put it on the other side, and it's going to give me a little bit more freedom on those solder points, but I'm going to have to make sure when I solder my wire on those solder points that it is really, really low. The buttons, these buttons kind of slide right across this surface, okay? Yep, they do. They slide across this surface on these points here. And so anything coming up would interfere with that. Okay, good. Good thing we caught that. We needn't be easily aware. This is I keep fiddling with that back body, but it's okay. So that changes a bit here. How we're going to do these? Can I can still manage them by going in behind the motor box. Let's do this. Oh wait, okay. I said I was gonna strip this back. I didn't do that yet. Let's get some free cable out here. Free wires. Could pull this sheathing off. It's not coming off. Let's do it in pieces. Okay. Too big a section. We had too much friction on it, and that's not good. And we're going to do it to all of them. I know that right now this video is going to be much longer than I anticipated, but again, not having done this before, and this is the only toy I have, I couldn't practice on another one. Somebody sent me this and asked for it to be done. This is a special request item. I do those. So let's get that extracted up. So if I run my cable behind here and bring it up on the other side of that motor, and use my special tweezers to grab it. Now it's available to do up here, and it's not going to interfere with the switches. It's not going to interfere with the motor. Let's do all three of them that way. Let's bring them up the back side of that motor. Or because it's on the face, it's the front side of the motor, but for where our current orientation is, it's either way. Okay. And third one. I got half of it. Where's the other half? All the way down. No, it didn't get pushed through very good. I can see it. I can see it. Tweezers are your friend. Okay, now we've got them up. Now we have a scramble of wires. We've got to figure out which one goes where so that we can nicely lay these down in here again. Okay. I'm going to lay these wires down in an order. I want the bottom one to be the closest to it, the middle one to be the middle one, and the top one to be the furthest away, so that in practical use, somebody can grab a hold of this and say, oh, we want to activate this one, and logic says it's there. So, with that in mind, the wire that's on the bottom is the one that the blue wire went down and around and off to the Joneses, it looks like, or something. Off to the Joneses, I like that phrase. Let's go to this again. It is this one. Okay. Soldering iron needs to be turned back on. Switch 3. Okay, so the logic says we got to read this again. The one that's the post, the soldering post that's closest to this side is not this switch. This switch, we're going to follow this inside track. Comes over and it goes to, it's called switch 1 on here. So it's the closest, it's the second one from the left. And ground is on the left. So let's solder that to the second one from the left. A lot of things going on here trying to support the body housing. Keep everything in camera view. Hold the wire in the right position. Oops. Let's see what we can do. Sometimes I'll actually get Mrs. Claus to help me hold things up, but she's not available at the moment, so it's just me. Okay. That should be the bottom wire, now hooked. Good. Second wire, or we'll go with the top wire, just to have a distinction. I could have marked these, but for this short of a run, it's fairly easy to re-identify them. Fairly easy. Is that it? It's right there, the bottom one. Okay. Alright. I'm calling that the middle wire, and on the circuit board it's going to be number 3, which is the middle of the switches that are identified. Okay, let's get a little solder going. Lay that one down right there. There's 2. And we by process of elimination, I'm pretty confident that this is 3. This is going to be let's see. Yeah, it's going to be what I want it to be for the switch on the farthest left. Okay. All right, stand up nicely. I keep moving this out of the way in case solder should fall. It doesn't get onto the toy. Okay. There's those. Now we got this interesting collection of these 3 wires have all got to go on one post. And can we do it? Can we do it? They all go right there. I could combine these with a jumper wire and sleeve that off with a shrink tubing, but I'm not going to. I'm going to come in here with it like this, collect them up tight, and we're going to see if we can put a clunk of wire solder right on that. Okay, did it attach? I'll tell you what, it attached good enough to pick that side of the body up. Okay, folks, that's it. We're all done. Video's over. Well, maybe not. We haven't tested it, have we? We've got this in this nicely put back there. I just realized something too. Here's a warning. A mistake I made. Video is definitely not done. On the other side of this motor mount, when I move the counterbalance, there's a black wheel. And I do not know if I can even get that on video. There is, let's see, if you see movement, then you know that I've captured the video part. See movement back there behind that? I'll tell you what, let's do. I'm going to grab a piece of tape, put it on there. Grab a roll of tape. I want you to see why my fix here is not going to work. Not immediately. I mean, there's an adjustment that needs to be made. Okay. I stuck a piece of tape on that wheel back there on the other side of the motor, and good. We can see the tape. Now, can I get it to the camera? I'll tell you what. Let's do that. See that piece of tape back there? That is a wheel on the back side of that block that rotates, and it's going to rotate right where I put those cables. Okay? But the biggest advantage is it's going to rotate high from those cables, away from that circuit board. So I need to manage my wires a little tighter, and to do that, I'm gonna release this connector with my tweezers, my wire grippers. Okay, release that, and I'm going to pull all three of my cables to the other side of that. I'm going to manage them over here on this side, like that. And I'm going to put this back on. And now my wires will not be interfered by that rotating wheel. Now it's clear. A lot of clearance. A lot of clearance. Okay. So pull that, pull that, pull this, because you know they're going to be pulled. Okay. The ear needs to go back on. Okay. So, nice and tight on the wiring there. Let's set this bank of buttons in here, and let's find out. Very, very nice. Not one of those interferes with anything. This is now managed, and due to the characteristics of this toy, testing of it is going to be much better done by putting it back together. So that way we don't want that anything flying around on it. Oh wait, I'm thinking this might be the last time this goes together, so let's actually put it back on the base, huh? Okay. There's two possible rings here, it looks like. The top one is thicker, it's a wider, top one is wider, and it has the registration points for our base. So I'm going to make sure that we put that on. And once we've got that started, we do the same with the back side. And line up registration pins that are inside the case to make so that we don't make any mistakes. Let's see, I missed something down here. It's not snapping together quite right. That sounded good, but that wasn't. I'm not there yet. No. There again, it sounded good, but I'm not there. Let's try this. I wonder if this got up in the way. Okay. We got the front lined up. Got the back kind of lined up, and okay, so we've got it back together again, and I've hooked it up to my 4-in-1 switch. So this is a assignment that I've adapted to have 4 switches right on the desktop or tabletop. Instead of having 4 individual switches, they're all combined in anyway. So let's see if the thing works out. We have
Let me hear you shout. 1, 2, 3.
we have that one, good.
Ready to dance?
We can interrupt it and we can do something else.
Record and remix. When
And
I
interrupt
turn
it for red.
say
So-
something, and I'll mix it into a song. Here we go. Bounce to the beat of the ABC.
That's the ABC one.
Oh, here we go. I'm all about colors, colors all around. Show me
And
all the
red.
colors. Record and remix. When I turn red, say something,
Okay.
and I'll mix it into a song. Here we go.
Hey, thank you very much for adapting me. Switch Adapted Toys.
Hey, thank you very much for adapting me.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Turn it up.
All right, thanks everybody. Hey, remember, if you subscribe to the channel, you get all these videos as I record them, a notice of them, and then you can follow them and see if there's any toys that you want to adapt for yourself. You have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.